Turn Texas blue.
Turn Texas blue.
Turn Texas blue.
Turn Texas blue.
Yes, the GOP should worry about Texas. Are you worried about Texas?
Yes, I am.
We see a shift in some key states that have been battlegrounds for a long time.
Texas is a state that Republicans really have to pay attention to.
In 2020, we expect to see a national movement across the left to target Texas.
There's a new battleground state, Texas.
Texas is the entire ballgame in 2020.
11 Republicans already announcing that they will not run for re-election to the House.
They lost 9 seats in the state House. They lost 2 seats in the state Senate. They lost 2 seats in the Congress in 2018.
Texas Democrats salivating at the idea that Texas, of all places, could turn blue.
Ultimately, it's not about red or blue. It's not about political party, right or left, Republican or Democrat. It's about the principles that each party is embracing.
A growing number of candidates are, running as socialists.
We are going to make public colleges and universities tuition free.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
If you could, would you take the wall down now? Here.
Yes.
Like you have a wall.
Absolutely.
Knock it down.
If the left is able to take Texas, they control the electoral map, probably for the rest of our lives.
The struggle to curb crime continues in Baltimore.
The homeless crisis has created an alarming situation across Southern California.
Detroit is an economic basket case. With no money, it can afford to run only a third of its ambulances, and 40% of the streetlights are burnt out.
If you live or work in the Bay Area, prices to buy or rent a home here are through the roof.
We have folks that are suggesting that we should buy science fiction instead of science fact, which is why I am supporting the resolution on the Green Deal.
So it's so important that we do our part to work to see those principles survive another generation.
This law effectively bans sanctuary cities in the state of Texas.
My Democrat colleagues don't give a damn about our national security or the migrants coming here, and they prefer to use children as political props.
I do want to dwell on real solutions, not insane Green New Deal solutions based on a false premise.
If the principles our nation were found upon, those principles of liberty, freedom, prosperity, are going to survive another generation, we have to do our part in Texas to defend those. It's like the last stand.
He wants to put everyone who hasn't paid into Medicare on Medicare. That would bankrupt Medicare. It would hurt seniors.
Some colleges are banning free speech on college campuses. Well, no more.
In addition, this agreement prevents our Democratic colleagues from trying to block President Trump from using funds to strengthen border security.
We do not stand with a movement that seeks to isolate and shame our strongest ally in the Middle East. By weakening Israel, the global BDS movement endangers American security.
There's no other state that espouses the founding principles of our nation like the state of Texas.
There's no better place to live other than Texas.
The people are what make this place feel like home. The people here in Bastrop County, they pride themselves on the work they do, and they work for everything they got. It's not handed to them.
One thing I love about representing the people of District 27 and Bastrop is just the spirit of resiliency that people have, that Texas can-do spirit where people come together to support what's going on. For example, we love our veterans.
I'm Willie Pena, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army retired. I live here in Bastrop County. I think folks need to be educated on the issues, and not only educated on the issues, but educated on the people running for office.
You have to educate yourselves, you have to be involved, and you have to show up and vote.
Texas turning blue would be problematic in terms of some of the social policies and tax policies that they would institute that would take away a lot of what makes Texas strong.
It is so vital that we all recognize that we have a role to play.
We work very hard for what we have. I think that's part of being a Texan. Texans are going to have to show up at the polls to keep Texas red because it may not always be that way.
Our founding principles only work for an involved electorate. It only works for citizens who are actively engaged.
People can have their voices heard by voting, and I always hear people all the time say, well, my vote doesn't matter, my vote doesn't matter. Well, yes, it does.
I didn't serve my country for people not to vote. I served my country for people to go vote.
Our founders gave us a nation that required our participation. It's a nation of the people, by the people, for the people. And so we have to do our part. We always get the government we deserve. And so it's so important that we do our job to make sure we have the nation that we're supposed to have.
Join us in the fight to hold Texas. Share your conservative voice with your friends and neighbors so we all vote red in 2020. For more info, reach us today at bastropcountygop.org.